Commander Veltar of the Galactic Defense Coalition stared at the holographic display with growing desperation. The Devour Swarm had consumed 3 star systems in the past month, their biomechanical ships stripping worlds bare before moving on to the next target. Every major species in the galaxy had contributed their finest military minds, their most advanced technology, their elite forces. None of it had been enough. The Altrurians brought their psychic warriors, capable of crushing minds across solar systems. The swarm adapted, developing mental shielding within days. The mechanical nexus deployed their perfect battle algorithms and self-repairing fleets. The swarm learned, evolved, and overwhelmed them through sheer numbers. Even the ancient ethereals, masters of energy manipulation who rarely involved themselves in galactic affairs, had emerged from their crystal cities only to retreat in defeat. "We need something different," Veltar muttered, his forearms gesturing frantically at the tactical display. "Every approach we've tried follows the same patterns. Advanced technology, superior firepower, elegant strategies. The swarm counters everything." His aide, Lieutenant Crix, hesitated before speaking. "Sir, there is one species we haven't consulted, though I'm not sure they'd be of any use. At this point, I'll take suggestions from primitive cave dwellers if they have ideas." "Well, sir, that's remarkably close to what I was about to suggest. The humans." Veltar's primary eyes blinked in confusion. "Humans? Those barely evolved primates from that backwater system? They've only had space travel for, 2 centuries? They don't even have proper energy weapons." "That's correct, sir. They still use chemical propellants and kinetic weapons. Their ships are held together with what they call duct tape and determination. But," Crix paused, consulting his datapad, "they do have one quality that might be relevant. According to our cultural studies, they have an unusual approach to problem-solving when desperate. Which is? They stop thinking logically." Against his better judgment, Veltar found himself aboard a human vessel called the Makeshift 3 days later. The ship was exactly as primitive as he'd expected. Exposed wiring ran along the corridors, the artificial gravity fluctuated randomly, and he was fairly certain the air recycling system was held together with some kind of adhesive polymer. Captain Jake Morrison greeted him in what humans called a briefing room, though it looked more like a storage closet with chairs. The human was tall and lean, with graying hair and eyes that seemed to take in everything at once. "So you've got a bug problem," Morrison said after Veltar explained the situation. "They are not insects," Veltar corrected stiffly. "They are a highly evolved biomechanical collective intelligence with adaptive capabilities that surpass—" "Yeah, bugs," Morrison interrupted. "Big ones that eat planets, got it. You tried shooting them with fancy weapons, they adapted. You tried outthinking them, they learned. You tried overwhelming them with superior numbers, they made more of themselves." He leaned back in his chair, which creaked ominously. "Classic mistake." "What mistake?" "You're trying to beat them at their own game. Evolution, adaptation, learning. That's what they do. It's like challenging a fish to a swimming contest." Veltar felt his patience wearing thin. "Then what do you suggest? Your species has no advantages in any of those areas." Morrison grinned, showing his primitive white teeth. "Exactly. We're not good at evolution. We're terrible at adaptation. We learn slow and forget fast. But you know what we are good at? Enlighten me. Being absolutely, completely, irrationally stubborn. What followed was the most chaotic military operation in galactic history. Morrison's plan, if it could be called that, involved loading every available human ship with the most primitive weapons they could manufacture. No energy weapons, no smart missiles, no adaptive technology. Just kinetic rounds, chemical explosives, and what Morrison called good old-fashioned spite. The human fleet arrived at the Devour Swarm's latest target and immediately did something no other species had attempted. They stopped trying to win. Instead of engaging the swarm ships directly, the humans began firing at everything else. They shot asteroids to create debris fields. They detonated chemical explosives in empty space, just to make noise. They rammed their own ships into space stations, creating spectacular but seemingly pointless explosions. The swarm, evolved to counter threats and adapt to tactics, found itself trying to adapt to chaos. How do you counter an enemy that shoots at nothing? How do you learn from tactics that make no sense? How do you evolve against opponents who seem determined to destroy themselves? While the swarm's collective intelligence struggled to process the humans' seemingly random actions, Morrison's real plan unfolded. Hidden among the chaos, human engineers were doing what they did best, building things that barely worked but somehow got the job done anyway. They jerry-rigged massive gravity generators from mining equipment. They welded together communication, arrays that could broadcast across entire star systems. They created what they called a quantum fishnet, using technology they didn't fully understand but were willing to try anyway. The swarm, so focused on adapting to the humans' chaotic combat methods, failed to notice the subtle changes happening around them. By the time they realized the humans were herding them into a specific region of space, it was too late. The improvised gravity net activated, creating a localized space-time distortion that trapped the entire swarm in a pocket dimension. Not destroyed, not defeated, just removed from normal space-time and stored somewhere else entirely. Will they escape? Veltar asked as they watched the last swarm ship vanish into the distortion. Morrison shrugged. Probably, eventually. But by then we'll have figured out something else. Maybe we'll shoot them into a star. Maybe we'll ask them nicely to leave. Maybe we'll challenge them to a dance-off. Who knows? As the human fleet began its chaotic departure, ships peeling off in random directions with no apparent coordination, Veltar finally understood. The humans hadn't won through superior technology or brilliant strategy. They'd won by being so unpredictable that a perfectly adaptive enemy couldn't adapt to them. Sometimes asking the wrong species for help was exactly the right thing to do.